And also part of our developing team intelligence that we were talking about earlier, there are some conflict management styles as well that are involved with this. And first one is accommodating, and that's giving in to the expert or to somebody, other people within the team to preserve that future team relationship. There's avoiding, and that's if the situation is out of hand or emotional. If the outcome doesn't matter, then you might avoid uh, making decisions. Collaborating is where everybody comes together to seek a solution. There's a lot of trust involved in a collaborating management style of a team. And then competing, where people are, they might be aggressive, they might take a firm stand. This is useful if there's a short timeline for a goal involved. You have to have something done in a couple of days, something like that. And then compromising is also a management style where nobody wins, nobody gets what they want. Everybody just, it's a compromise to make things work and move along. So, some leadership challenges that we can face are interpersonal. There's some interpersonal and analytic skills that we can look at. Interpersonal skills are including people and how they manage and lead members with different backgrounds, their different perceptions, their values, their thoughts, beliefs, and experiences. Interpersonal skills also provide constructive criticism and feedback and recognition while being objective. Reinforcing and encouraging others, mediating conflicts through harmonization and compromise, and being a gatekeeper to make sure the group is inclusive is also a leadership things that go on. And then reflecting on positive and negative team dynamics and creating change when needed, along with openness to all the members' ideas. Leading isn't always about being in control. It's sometimes about being there and just being a listening ear. And then having clear communication while setting standards so everybody understands and respects each other. Analytical skills include focusing on interpreting complex problems or situations and investigating an issue to develop an effective response. So analytical people tend to view problems from the left, right, up, down, under, front, backwards, without making any decision based on some sort of bias. They want to get to the root of the problem and provide those resolutions based on the info that they've collected. And then it's important to collect the correct information, list your sources of information, prioritize things, obtain the data, and consider the audience to whom you're going to be presenting to. Our challenges continued here. Some work teams work well, and others, no matter what you do, are just not going to work well together. They're not high functioning. I had a particular job where that occurred. It didn't matter what anybody said to this gal. She, for whatever reason, took to disliking me, and there was just no turning back. I tried to talk to her. The owner of the business tried to talk to her. Other people tried to talk to her, and it didn't work. I think possibly what might have worked had maybe the owner he brought both of us in individually to talk with him, but I think he should have brought us together and had us collaborate to see if we could work something out. I honestly don't know why she disliked everything that I did and my ideas, but it kind of sounded like she was older than me, and I think she kind of wanted things to run her way, but she didn't want to take that leadership role on. So I don't know. That's just the way it goes sometimes. But a foundation of a good team is everybody having a comfort level, and that helps them perform their job. They can be challenging each other without, retribution, fear, or embarrassment. There's a good chemistry going on with good teams. Bad teams, like I said, not so much. That doesn't happen. There's no chemistry. There's, just dislike for whatever reason. Some other, challenges is that members need to complement one another, and they need to have the skill sets to complete the tasks that they have at at hand in the team. And then collaborating together, supporting and encouraging one another makes for a good team. So if you don't have that, again, you're going to have problems. People are going to want to do things their way or function on their own, or think, you know what, I'm going to do it this way because I know it's better, and I don't care what anybody else says. So. And then leaders have to have a plan that enables the team to be high performing as well. Teams can have, lots of challenges, like I was saying, inefficiency. There can be actually bad leadership as well, which I would kind of consider that circumstance that I just explained to probably be a little bit of bad leadership. I think as the owner of the company, he maybe should have taken a little bit more steps or something to get to the root of the problem and to kind of lay the foundation on what was going to happen. I think another thing that would have been helped with that situation is that my taking the position that I did was sort of sprung on everybody within the company, and there was there was no preparing for it. Preparation wasn't done. There wasn't any opportunity for people to express, anything about it. It was just sort of said, and this is how it is. So I kind of think that might be a good bad leadership example. Unfair situations, work overload. These can all be different challenges that teams can face. If things are fair, people might think things are not fair. There might be rivalry amongst individuals within a team or within a setting. There can be deadlines that are challenging to meet, and trying to please everybody, that can be hard as well. And then if a member cannot be coached or doesn't buy into the program, then again, you might need to look at dismissal or replacement if they just aren't getting with the program and aren't working towards what the team needs. Our team was not, and this was my fault, I didn't instruct the team clearly from the beginning, and I didn't take the careful approach to presenting those distinct deadlines and parameters that needed to be met. It was my job to, do this, and I failed at that. I kind of assumed everybody knew what they were supposed to be doing when I formed this team, and so now we've got a few issues going on. And as the leader, I have taken responsibility for that. And so I'm trying to bring everybody back in and redefine their roles within the company, or within the team, to clarify what the goals are of this team, and to give those parameters, offer some guidance and training, and follow up on implementing the guidelines to create that accountability for their actions and the procedures that need to be done. Again, coaching is important along the way of leading an effective team. If there are issues, you get to the root of the problem and solve it. You need to clarify that mission and regroup if there's things going on, just like what I was just explaining. I failed in the beginning with this team, and so now I'm re-clarifying the mission with them and regrouping, re-clarifying those goals, and trying to find out what some of the problems are, what has been going on, why has the team not been able to meet any of their goals, why are we behind on our deadlines, why are things not happening. So I'm going to, again, consult with the team, provide any additional education, any feedback, and motivation that they need to get things going, and I'm going to do that assertively so that it does get done now. I want to address the performances that are going on, not the people. I'm going to stick to the facts, try not to get emotionally involved. And then I want to coach, of course, at appropriate times, for appropriate reasons, and in appropriate places. So I want to make sure that I'm not, talking to somebody when it's a Friday at 4 o'clock and they've checked out for the weekend, that, mentally checked out. They aren't up for coaching. They're up for chatting about what's going on. It might be better to do it on a Tuesday morning or something like that. And then if something happens, I do want to address it right away, of course. I don't want it to sit and stew for 2 or 3 days, but I might want to pull that person aside and talk to them. And then in coaching, you always want to encourage members to utilize their strengths and provide that additional training to them if they need it, and then celebrate their accomplishments, and then again restructure if issues do arise like they have been. So in conclusion, our team is working to develop a new system to meet all individual needs within the company, which include creating a performance improvement plan, looking at surveys and questionnaires, feedback, solutions, appraisals, all those things that we can implement into our new system that we're developing. We want to evaluate all the employees' training, their experience, their job performances, their skills, their qualifications. Maybe people need to be moved around or do some cross training in the company so that they are able to train for other jobs and that, so that they don't get stuck in the same old and feel valuable, and that helps groom them for other positions in the future as well. We want to define and seek input into what the employees are wanting and what they feel will help them be more effective in their performance as well. We want to work for cultural inclusion on the performance plans. We want to be aware of differences, people's personalities, the different educational things that are going on, if there's language barriers, skills, other abilities of people. And then we want to have some specific goals to reach and define our evaluation system so we can divide the work effectively and based on our team member skill levels so that they can achieve the goals that we need to get all this other information together for implementing this new evaluation system. And we do have specific members with varying experience and knowledge to meet those tasks. So these functions can be assigned to each unique talent that each person has, so that there's not two people doing the same thing. Each person can do what's they do powerfully and reduce that overlap to create that success. So our team is going to do some investigating and interpreting once they get all their surveys, questionnaires, feedback, appraisals, everything back from the employees that we're going to be looking at, and provide those findings to the company to look at that new performance evaluation system and for the needs of all the employees. Thank you for listening, and if you have any questions, I'll be available following the end of this class. Thank you.